No smoking, of course. Og som sagt, mit navn er Andreas, det er Hans, der er kaptajn i dag, der sidder bag rattet her. Der kommer til at være en masse meget, meget lave broer, så pas på hovederne, selvfølgelig. Det er selvfølgelig lidt lavvandet i dag, men de er stadig meget lave, nogle af dem. Hold hænder og hoveder inden for båden, lad være med at røre ved broerne, selvfølgelig. Jeg ved, at det er fristende, men man kan nemt få sine fingre i klemme. Nu kommer den laveste bro. Yes. This is of course New Harbor back then. I mean the Swedes did the same thing to Danish prisoners of war. Nu sejler vi selvfølgelig gennem Nyhavn, som ikke And this is of course the inner harbor, the middle part of the harbor of Copenhagen. Yes. While Mærsk McKinney Møller, the director of the Mærsk Shipping Company, he wanted these steel lines here to kind of block the view. And in the end, learn how to navigate the boat and clean the boat and stuff like that, and beginning their sailor careers, the school ship. And then we have probably one of the weirdest attractions in all of Copenhagen. Vi kan selvfølgelig også se de her krigsskibe her, der ligger på Nyholm. Vi har blandt andet Sælen. Sadly, it was not holiday season, so nobody were home. Very lucky. Nobody died, nobody got hurt. The incident, we call it the Posa missile in Danish, which translates into the Ups rocket. The Ups rocket, because it was shot by an accident. This green military area here, she symbolizes the fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen, The Little Mermaid, made famous by Disney. Even though the original ending of the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale is a bit different from the Disney movie. In the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, the Little Mermaid actually ends up not marrying the prince. She turns to foam on the ocean side, so she kind of disappears. So now they made it more difficult to steal the head. They put like a wrist thing around her neck. Men det er så også til gengæld den dyreste vej til Aarhus. Det er som regel over 1.500 kroner, man skal af med per tur. It's the only Anglican church in Denmark. So most churches in Denmark are of course Lutheran, but this is the Anglican one. Then we have the two royal pavilions. Verdenshave. Nogle vil også sige, at det symboliserer de 7 arbejdsdage. We have the building with the blue eyes. These 3 old warehouses are from the 18th century. The first one is called the West Indian Warehouse, where you find copies of famous sculptures like David of Florence by Michelangelo. The other warehouses are actually apartments, some of the most expensive ones you find in Copenhagen. But originally, these warehouses are actually colonial buildings that were used to store goods from the Danish possessions in the Caribbean, the Danish West Indies, and in West Africa and Ghana. Goods from these places inside these buildings. Here we have the royal winter residency of the royal family. It's called Emmanuel Castle, where the royal family resides when they are in Copenhagen. So right now we can actually see who's home. You can always see that by the Danish flags on the roof. It has to be a Danish flag with a royal symbol in it. So we can see that there's one on the roof with the 4 chimneys there. And this is the building used by Crown Prince Frederick, the heir to the throne, and the Australian Princess Mary. The Queen resides in the building with an extra chimney, so there's 5 chimneys in the Queen's building. One more than the others. Maybe it's because she smokes. Den her kuppel er faktisk så stor, at rulletårnet vil kunne stå inde i kuppelen. Højdeforskellen på den her kuppel af rulletårnet er på 3 meter. Og så kan vi jo se, hvem der er hjemme i kongehuset. Det kan man se på Dannebrog. I Dannebrog på taget med et kongeligt monogram i midten. Der er et Dannebrog på taget med det. And they actually use the water of the harbor to cool this building down. And they do it through some of these poles under the building here, so it's kind of a green green architecture. And then you have the copper square on top of the building, and they kind of want this copper square to oxidize at some point, to turn green, because then the idea is that this building will fit more into the skyline in Copenhagen with all of the copper towers, the old copper towers. Now we sail into Christian's Harbour. Christian's Harbour was founded by King Christian IV, inspired by Amsterdam in the Netherlands when he founded this part of Copenhagen. So you have these narrow canals connected to each other, and these painted houses you find a bit further down the canal. Right here in the beginning of Christian's Harbour, you can also find some of these old historical ferries, actually. These ferries, some of them are actually old passengers ferries. We have over 400 inhabited islands in Denmark, and some of them this statue on top of the tower has also lost some body parts through the years. Back in the beginning of the 19th century, when the British, they occupied. Jeg vil tage et billede af kirken på venstre hånd efter broen, hvis man gerne vil have det perfekte. So there it is. So be quick so you get a picture of the church, and then we'll get a picture of the chestnut tree blocking the church. In the world that has that, maybe. Og nu sejler vi gennem en lille stillezone, fordi at vi sejler gennem et område med en masse lejligheder, så jeg slukker lige mikrofonen, indtil vi er ude af kanalen. Have the big black square, the Black Diamond it's called. It's part of the Royal Library, so you find a lot of books in there. This building reflects the water of the harbor in a very beautiful way. Vi har kaldt den sorte diamant, fordi når solen rammer vandet foran bygningen i en helt rette vinkel, så spejler den her bygning havnens vand på en måde, så bygningen begynder at funkle som en diamant. You even had sailors had some of their salary paid in beer, not in money, and they could get the barrels of beer each month at the brewery. You even have examples of priests baptizing children in beer and not in water, because the water was too dirty to baptize. You also have the pavilions with the Greek gods on them, and the crowns, very pretty. It's made out of Norwegian marble and sandstone from Bornholm, the Danish island. Nu sejler vi under Marmorbroen, den smukkeste bro i København, med de her pavilloner, en mand og en kvinde, og så de her uhyre ansigter, der rækker tunge, hugget ind i stenen, hugget ind i broen. Broen, der er bygget af bornholmsk sandsten og norsk marmor for fortogene. Så har vi de to pavilloner med græske guder på broen ved siden. We of course also have the National Museum on our left. Her på højrehånden har vi selvfølgelig også Thorvaldsens museum, den orange bygning her, med skulpturen på top. De er altså ikke mere, desværre. Så har vi gode gamle Absalon. So Absalon, the guy you saw before on the horse, what he did was that he built a castle right in this area where we sail right now. So this castle we see here today is not the same castle as the one from the 12th century. This castle is actually a fairly new castle. It was built in 1928, or finished in 1928. It's founded by King Christian IV. King Christian IV is also the founder of the Dragon Tower, the old stock. Der står de sammenslyngede dragehaler. De her drager blev jo faktisk oprindeligt bygget som krokodiller, men der var aldrig nogen, der havde set en krokodille i 1600-tallet i Danmark, så der er mange, der synes, de ligner hunde lidt. Hunden Pluto er der nogen, der ser. India and from the West Indies. This sculpture there is actually a sculpture of a slave, and it's made by an artist from the former Danish West Indies, the American Virgin Islands. A very sharp turn, and a lot of people don't see this turn coming, so they have to stop their bikes in a hurry. So you always see a lot of skid marks on this bridge left by all the people who had to stop their bikes. Nu kommer vi snart til H.C. Andersens hus. Det er hus, hvor H.C. Andersen boede til leje som 14-årig. Et lille smalt hus med et sort tag. Hus nummer 67, der boede han til leje, fordi han gerne ville gå på den danske balletskole, den kongelige balletskole, da han flyttede til København. This house with the black roof is where Hans Christian Andersen rented a room when he was 14 years old. House number 67. He moved to Copenhagen when he was 14 because he wanted to dance ballet. He wanted to be a ballet dancer, apply for the Royal Ballet School, but he was not very good at dancing ballet, which is kind of lucky because he became a fairy tale writer instead, probably the greatest fairy tale writer in history. He wrote parts of his fairy tales here in New Harbour. He lived 3 different places in New Harbour actually. Now the lowest bridge will come again, nu kommer den laveste bro igen. So we're back. I'll of course say thank you for your attention. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and yes, if you want to spend some more time in New Harbour, we of course have the promenade with all of the restaurants. The water is also very, very clear today. It's not normally that clear, so you can see everything. But yes, I wish you a nice day, and please stay seated until the boat stands still before you get up. Så er vi altså tilbage, hvor vi startede. Jeg siger selvfølgelig tak for jeres opmærksomhed og ønsker jer fortsat god dag. Og venligst bliv siddende på jeres sæder, indtil båden står stille. Tak.